I mean, what do we say? It's a warm day, and here we are
You think it's
preparing to get
fucking warm? You're in England. You're
warm.
like 7, 8 degrees cooler than it is here.
It's because it's 25 here, I
Yeah,
think,
it's
currently.
31.
Ooh, gross.
And I've just spent a week in Greece where it was 23, 24 on the coast. Come back here. I landed at midnight and it was 23 degrees and I was not happy.
Eek.
And Europe obviously does no fucking air conditioning.
No.
Then neither did Mexico, so fuck it.
I mean, it's going to be a fun summer of releases. Let's just say that because
Yeah, well, there will be some
got
good things and there's going to be a massive pile of shit.
the Trench Crusade's got its box coming out. Like, we'll talk more about that actually when it lands because I think that's really
I am very excited about that.
I've got that on pre-order because I sold. What did I sell for that?
Your soul?
I sold something.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, I sold Tyranids. I sold a fuck ton of Tyranids for it.
Okay.
That was never going to never. And obviously, that is what I'm doing right now. We've been doing a little bit of spring cleaning, even though it feels like the height of summer, and tidying up rooms and things. And so I'm going to pull out my 40k armies, and I'm going to keep my Sisters of Battle because there's a squad of Adeptus Arbites in there, and there's my Rogue Trader landing crew in there, and so it's quite an eclectic.
Like a proper inquisitorial kind of fun force.
It just screams second edition 40k, which is cool.
That's what I miss. I miss like second edition, 5th edition, and stuff. I don't want to play it. Like Horus Heresy has no dry pull for me, even though it's like 7th ed rules.
Yeah.
But
and like
the aesthetics, I certainly really enjoy more.
And I could potentially work out a second ed or just cobble something together, second ed 40k Marine army because I've got.
You got a load of Firstborn?
Well, I've got Blackstone Fortress and I've got the kill team, the just regular Chaos Spaceman kill team. So I've got like Traitor Guardsmen and Chaos Space, a small amount of Chaos Space Marines and other shit, and it's like, well, there you go. It's eclectic as well. It's just weird and funky.
That would be, to be fair, talking about Traitor Guard. There is one thing that would really get me excited if Games Workshop ever did this, and that is Dark Mech. If they ever did a fucking Dark Mech army,
I think we'll see that this edition. I feel
well, they teased it with Vashdor. Like, he is the Dark Mech Lord, but never saw it. Well, the same things. Like, I'm going to keep some of my 40k stuff. Like, I'm going to keep some of the Space Wolves. I'm going to keep some of the Emperor's Children because they're cool models, and I might eventually paint them. But I'm going to get rid of my Indominus box set. If this goes out before, here's the thing: if anybody listens to this before UK Games Expo, I will have the Indominus models with me at UK Games Expo. Come find me and we can strike up a deal.
But yeah, it's just...
Then I can go buy more shit that I don't need.
It's just... I mean, because we were saying, like, I was watching Helso Mikey's stream about this, about what they're doing mechanically with 40k, and I think...
I don't think they're doing anything, really.
I mean... If you look at what they're doing, like they're adding in the idea that you can be hidden inside terrain, so you can't be seen unless the enemy's within 15 inches. It's just like
it's night fighting. That's all it is.
It's bringing back. It's almost like I feel like they've, in their route to make 40k more accessible, they brought out 9th edition that did like a full sweeping clearing house of.
No, it was 8th did a full
or whatever edition.
And 8th was a really good, when it first came out, was a really good rule set.
Yeah.
But then they just fucked it.
But the problem is that they bring out all this stuff, or they make it simpler, and then they either layer in too many rules, or they say, like they said with 10th, oh, there's only going to be ever that many rules on a unit, and if we add an extra rule, we'll take something out on stuff. But then you've got, we're going to have you have your detachment rule, and then you have your army-wide rules. So it's just like there's too many fucking layers of things to track.
Yeah, you have your command point and your stratagems, and it's like, when they brought out the idea of command points and stratagems, that's when I completely lost interest in the game.
Well, it's just...
And also the stupid-ass objective cards. Like
Yeah.
some of them are good, and some of them are just so insanely weird. Like you can lose a game, you can play the best game of your life, but lose it because you just draw crap objective cards.
Yeah,
And
and that's not
it's
fun.
not a fair. In no way, shape, or form are the objective cards balanced at all.
And we're going to get that where your objectives is going to be based upon what detachment you use, and so, and what detachment your opponent uses. So you're going to get weird
combos and all sorts of weird shit. And it's so we were saying this before we started recording. They've come to a point where the rules pretty much can't change unless they completely overhaul the system. So all they do is tack on weird shit and do like they're fucking changing the size of the boards. Why did we need to change the board size?
I think that was based around the fact that they realised that people's tables at home are the size of table you actually get from IKEA. They basically, which I respect. That's at least they did some research, possibly for the table size.
Really,
possibly, but I still
we should do the box size research. How big is Kallax? Because everybody has fucking Kallax.
But I guess the problem is that 40k is a really weird relationship with how it addresses shooting in a game when you start in like I think what this comes back to is like if you imagine like back in the day playing second ed Warhammer 40,000, right?
The original Armageddon box set.
Yeah. Like the ranges on there weren't that many weapons in the game that could stretch from one side of the board to the other.
No, 24 inches was generally your max.
And if they could, they were quite inaccurate, as in because it'd be like the FUD gun template.
Yeah, the Earthshaker cannon. It would be indirect fire rules.
And I think a lot of, and I was talking about this to Matt Hart at Steve Force Games because I was moaning about rules. And I think this comes down to the fact that this is, I think some of the problems of Games Workshop's rules writing of how things interact is because they don't have templates in the game anymore. And they didn't know how, and I feel like they didn't know how to deal with it. So by comparison, and I think, and also they didn't know how to deal with it because they also didn't have really good terrain rules that were consistent and everything else, or at least they're too consistent or they're missing gaps in there. So if you look at like say Warmachine, you've got really easy understanding of like this is woods. You see into, you can see out of a certain distance. It gives you defense bonus, which is good, but you can't see all the way through unless you've got something that lets you do that. And then you've got cloud templates. You can see into, you can see out of, but you can't see all the way through unless you've got something else that lets you see all the way through.
Night goggles shit, yeah.
Yeah, or either side
like,
on.
It was again all the way up until like 8th edition. They had all of these rules into it, and then they just stripped everything out. And like it's weird because when Warmachine did this in what was it, 3rd ed, when they just went 2D, fucking everything. It nearly killed the game. Yeah, like 40k is you can't. I don't think you can kill 40k. I don't think it will ever happen unless they do n times 40k and reset the system. Then I think they will kill.
I think they can. But I think they're in danger of doing what. I think in a way, even though the armies
not by becoming boring, but
I think in a way it's not that the armies themselves become boring, but I think it's that they could. There's what is it? The Soren. I mentioned this in another podcast. Soren Johansson, who's a games developer on the Civ games, so Civ 3 and Civ 4, on a blog post about 10 years ago, I think, said, given the opportunity, players will optimize the fun out of a game. And I think 40k is in danger of that because...
Well, it's a tournament game now. It's not a fun pickup game. So
well, and I think it's because like there's every army has a almost there isn't much difference. I think maybe there isn't much difference between armies even more because they've optimized them out because they're wanting people to play a tournament game and they're not wanting players to feel like, oh, this is broken. And because they're constantly responding to the tournament scene, they're optimizing the fun out. And what I was going to say about how with terrain is like with Warmachine's terrain interacted with weapons in a nice way. Like a spray weapon negated cover, negated concealment, wasn't and wasn't impacted by you didn't get your defense bonus on that. And likewise, blast weapons, even though they're not templates anymore, they target the one and X number nearby, so you're rewarded for spacing your models out. Whereas now,
40K, GW do not want you to space your models out at all.
40K can't do that because they want you to have as many models on the board as possible, which means it just means a flamer does D6 attacks on something, and a blast weapon does D6, and it does a certain number of hits, but it depends on how many models are in the unit. And it's just, and then when you couple with how terrain works, I just feel like it's all trying to fix things that they've made problems to themselves along the way.
Yeah, it's like they were working before, and then they go, well, like the removal of the templates was a really confusing point to me, because GW, they love to sell random bits of gaming hobby to the nerds, and yet they removed a random bit of gaming hobby that was basically essential for the game.
Yeah.
And they made the rules really shit. Where you could go, well, I've got a flamer. Well, okay, I'm going to spend a command point on an Overwatch as you charge in, so it's automatically going to hit. I don't need that 6 to get it to hit. I roll a 1.
And it's bonkers because you can literally see the opposite side of games design with this, with Warhammer the Old World and Horus Heresy, because they still use templates.
Yeah.
And Horus Heresy, you don't see these inane fucking mirror match maps. You're just told to put down terrain that makes sense and play the game.
The L-shaped terrain does my fucking nutting in 40k.
So, I don't know.
The biggest problem I have with Horus Heresy is just it's really boring because there's no variety. You've got 3 armies.
Well, I think the only way you can do variety is if you run and it won't be a very good army, but I think I might test it at some point if someone wants to intro me to Horus Heresy, is to run an army that is militia. So it's basically using a collection.
Yeah.
So I'll just take
this
20 Orlok gangers to be one group of one group of guys
or something.
The House Corda, well, they're Penal Legion, and I'll use then my Vansar can be Tech Company and be a bit more like with hell guns. That sounds fun to me, and gets you very back to that second ed 40k. But I just think there's something very 40. I think it's that, and that's why the rules writing of what they're trying to do with 40k also feels rather flat. Like I say, they're updating units in the game, so they just get certain extra ability. So some will have lethal hits, which is if you naturally roll a 6, you get you won't wound automatically, or it's like sustained. If you naturally roll a 6 to hit, you get an extra roll to wound. And then what was the other one? Sustain, and then devastating, which is natural 6 to wound, no arm saves, and then the weird one, which if the strength is higher than your toughness, their wound roll is you reduce by -1. So you're just moving it back to the middle. But it's just like, it's all stuff that pisses about at the edges of running a dice pool, because a lot of this stuff relies on you rolling 6s. And then you've got the whole thing then that you'll be using command points of some form or something to go, because there'll be some ability, whether it's command point ability or an ability on a unit, which means if it's stood on our objective or in terrain or something, which goes, oh, you get to re-roll this, and you get to re-roll that. So you're now constantly rolling and re-rolling.
You roll, re-roll, roll, re-roll.
And then some of these, that means on some units, you're doing this because you're fishing for crits. And it's like, it's just adds so many steps to what you need to do to resolve, which will, again, I've said this, which will likely come down to you remove maybe 2 or 3 models off the enemy unit generally, unless you're Space Marines versus Guard. It's just too flat.
So many individual army rules that are specific to very specific setups within that army. So you have to get your army composition completely correct to stack all the abilities, which basically you can do certain armies and you can stack abilities in certain armies where you'll always be rolling 2+ to hit and 2+ to wound with rerolls on ones.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the meta of the game at the moment. And it's like, well, what's really the point if everything's on 2+2+? Where's the challenge other than the army composition? You've changed it from a tabletop game to a fucking spreadsheet.
And it's because the game revolves around, ultimately the best way to win is just to eliminate another unit and grind it away. Which, when you and you compare like how 40k's got its relationship with terrain and shooting and so forth, and the ranges and everything, you compare what they did to Warmachine, and it's noticeable that they reduced the attack ratings or the defense ratings on units.
Yeah.
And that just means stuff stays in the game a bit longer. And it's just simpler and clearer. And it's quite interesting, like, again, and this says something about, and I've said this I've recorded one with Kenda, like a reflection on Steam, on Lock and Load. The fact that you go to that event and almost all the Steamforged staff there who were involved in the design of the game are playing in the games at the event, and you can talk to them about stuff. It just shows how involved they are in the current meta of the game to understand what it is. It's just a different world.
So there's major problems in the design process at Games Workshop. So there's a couple of major issues. One, they're owned by shareholders, so they have to make a profit, which is where this 3-year turnaround of games comes from.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And 3 years to redesign a system, you're not going to get anything done, really. Because before they started this, Games Workshop, they were saying that it took them 4 or 5 years to generate a new edition because there were major changes. They had to balance things out and stuff. Now they're pumping out them every 3 years. Obviously, there's going to be no major changes. But then there's another issue in that the design teams, they tend to only spend 6 to 9 months on a game, and then they shift to another game.
Yeah.
So you'll have someone come in 6 to 9 months, they'll work on 40k, and then at the end of that point, whether they've finished the project or not, they move to Age of Sigmar. And it's like, how does that give you good consistent games design writing?
Sounds like postdocs in research groups.
Hey, shut up! Stop calling my life out.
Where's the continuity of the knowledge? Yeah.
I've done pretty well with my postdocs. Most people have allowed me to continue with my work, but
I mean, it's that continuity of work, which it's a real. Yeah, it's just something which I've after what was a really great weekend of Warmachine stuff, it makes you reflect really heavily on like what games you're playing and why they're fun. Like
Warcry was a great game.
Warcry, and they just
I say was because it seems to be dead in the water.
Yeah, and like Necromunda is still just an RPG basically, and it's got the same basic core game mechanics as.
It's not really changed since the first edition.
Well, the thing is that I think also 40k tried to do this thing of like they're trying to be simplifying things where they'll go like, oh, you can only ever get a maximum of +1 or -1 on your dice roll, and it's like, well, you've just inherently limited
a lot of things.
It's such an arbitrary limitation.
It's a guardsman. What, 3+3+? Really?
It's so bonkers, and so like Necromunda does a lot with that D6 dice roll, that standard D6 dice roll. It can do a lot, but again, that's because every dice roll matters because you're not rolling a bucket of dice. When you're rolling a bucket of dice of like 20 dice and you're looking for sixes, and then you're looking for ones,
but it just doesn't.
Probability. It all smushes out. Whereas all the finicky little modifiers that you get happening in Necromunda can mean you miss someone or you hit them really well, and that matters. Yeah. So
and you can, within something like Necromunda or the Infinity, kind of does the same thing. Or at least it used to. I don't know what it is now. I've not played it since 3rd edition. But it was with those just single dice rolls, model on model, single dice roll kind of games. You can really create story behind it. as to why these things happen. Whereas if you just only roll 50 dice and like you then spend the next 2 minutes trying to look for what dice you then need to re-roll, it kind of also kills the flow of the game. Whereas it's like, I rolled to hit, okay, 1 dice, I rolled a 6, great, brilliant. That's this thing. Then you rolled it again, brilliant, done.
And you know what? Mechanically,
it speeds the thing up. It's like I don't want to sit there and play as an adult who has things to do in their life. I don't have 4 or 5 hours to play.
And mechanically, even though it wasn't doing anything too different, I actually thought what they did with Fallen Frontiers was really interesting with the turn sequence.
Yes, when you started that, it kind of disappeared.
I think looking back at that, I think the thing that it did really interesting was turn sequence, and that idea that you could actually activate a unit, because it wasn't a straight alternating activate. It wasn't an I go you go, and it wasn't a straight alternating activation. It actually kind of had an element of Age of Sigmar's double turn, but actually even more nuanced than that, because you could, by doing that, you had the element, that notion of like you can exhaust a unit, and I really like that idea. Like you could, go all in?
It was when we played it, because I came over, didn't I? Years ago and played it. It felt like it had the possibility of being a high-selling game, but Scale 75 just didn't seem to.
Shit the bed, don't they? Yeah.
Like the models are fucking gorgeous. The lore of the game was great, and the rule system was great. And now they've just kind of given up on all their models, all their stuff, and they just do paints now again. Admittedly, their paints are really good, but
I know, it's a shame. Anyway, so we should rattle through some other interesting things.
Well, 40k 11th edition is coming out. We're not excited about it. If you are, more for you.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That was the other thing. It's like, I think if the box that they're releasing had been released, if you imagine if that was the release even back when we were working at Games Workshop.
I don't want to think about when that was, but yes.
Yeah. But that would be a cool release, because you go, right, that's a great starter set.
Yeah.
But we would know inherently, because like certain starter sets that we had turn up when we were working there, whether it was 4th edition, Battle for Macragge, or Black Reach, or whatever the fuck it was called, those you look at and go, that's a great starter set. But if you're someone that's already playing Marines or already playing Orcs, you'd be like, well,
I don't need it.
Mostly buying it for certain models, but that's it. Like, it's not meant for everyone because it's a starter set. This box, I feel the reason why everyone feels it's kind of blah is because it's a starter set, but then that comes back to the other thing of it's a starter set that's going to cost at like
150
minimum 180 quid, I think, retail straight from Games Workshop. That's an expensive big starter box. Like,
and the Marines look stupid. That fucking land speeder. The land speeder is great, but the heads on the fucking drivers. Anyway, let's move on. It's a starter set. And then obviously they'll have the big starter set. This is very much, I think, coming from the execs and the big money.
But they want everyone to feel like they have to buy it, because that's what maintains.
And then like 3-4 months later, they do those ultimate, those 3 different editions where you get different parts of it. And I think they should just start with those 3 different editions, three different sizes. Because if like a young kid wants to come in, say a 10, 12-year-old wants to come in and play it, their parents are not going to buy them 150 quid box set.
I know. It's weird they even bother making these boxes, except for the FOMO, which is
it's very like GW lives on FOMO,
and it's just
we can talk about that one day, not today. But
it's difficult for them to sell that when you go, this is the third or 4th redesign of Orcs, like since they did plastic Orcs, the multi-part plastic Orcs for 3rd, and the Marines, as we've pointed out before, they're just head swaps that everyone's been doing for fucking years already. So what are you offering new? It's all very strange.
Yeah,
it's all very strange. Anyway, let's talk about something else interesting.
Yes.
Obviously, I've spoken about on this and on my wrap up of Lock and Load, and on my wrap up with Lock and Load with Kenda. So at Lock and Load, we got to see, and you've looked at the minis, I'm sure. So we've got Fane of Nero, which is our vampire elves with the weird back creatures.
Fucking cool.
Do you like them?
Yeah.
The the mechanics.
Looking at them in the photos that you took,
so the mechanics are cool.
They don't look like anime models, and that's what I like about it.
Well, this is the thing that it's the Marmite thing some people have with Warmachine is it's slightly more towards the anime design, but that's also because they're not trying to fill it with fucking rivets.
Because rivets suck to paint.
Mechanically, you'll appreciate this. Also, we're getting Menoth back as well. So
yes, that really excited me, and they don't seem to have changed too much.
So the vibe for Menoth is that because they are traditionalist zealots, their designs will not have moved on very far. So I think we'll ultimately see two forms of Menoth in the game. We'll see classic Menoth, which is basically Menoth as we know from first edition, rendered even better.
Yep.
And then we'll have whatever new Menoth is, which is when the zealots have gone off to another land.
Yeah.
And obviously
redesign themselves with whatever they've got.
So the Fane of Nero's mechanics, which you'll find interesting, is you know how most of your heavy hitters is your warjacks or war beasts?
Yeah.
These guys are the inverse. They're war beasts. Most of the war beasts, except for the character one, the character ones generally have a maximum power 15 hit, which is substantially lower than...
That's not very high.
No, because you think classic the classic ironclad warjack for Signar carrying a big steam hammer, that's at least a power 18 hit, right? So the other war beasts, you're looking at even lower, going down to power 13 on their attacks.
Jesus, that's like
what's
a
this
good
about?
gun on a unit,
right? Yeah. So it's your your warlocks in the army. They're your heavy hitters.
Fucking hell.
And that's because you go, shit, I've got to put my vampire up front in the game? That sounds scary. No, they've got a secondary resource in the game. So not only do they manipulate fury, but if your war beasts are... you're riding your war beasts and getting into combat for fury. The other thing you're generating, though, is you're generating something called hunger. Your warlocks start with 3 hunger points. They can accrue infinite amounts of it.
Someone's been reading the Jakrawi.
And you can spend as much as you like in your turn of it, so they can get extra attacks and things like that. And their one of their basic abilities, it was called Blood Shift, and it's now called Shadow. I think it's called Shadow Shift, whatever. Is you spend 3 of those hunger points, and when you take a hit, instead of taking the damage from it, a model within 4 inches of your warlock takes the hit instead and is removed from play. And you move your warlock to that model.
Oh, that's cool.
So basically imagine you're the war beast or whatever, or creature, explodes in blood.
Yeah.
And your vampires stood there unharmed.
Laughing at you, yeah.
So these characters are going to be really hard to pin down, which means...
an insane rule.
The way you're going to have to fight is you're going to have to kill things around them so they don't easily ping.
You have to bubble them, don't you? You're going to have to...
Yeah, which basically gets us to the point of, again, the thing that we constantly say about Warmachine as a game is it's really fucking dynamic.
Yeah, it is. It's like, I know I've not played it for... it must have been since 3rd Ed came out. So I played a couple of games when 3rd Ed came out, and as I tried...
Which army did you play?
What did I have? I had Kador. No, I didn't have Kador. Yes, I had Menoth, I should say. I meant Menoth. And when Convergence came out, I played Convergence as well.
Okay, cool. Well, if you've got access to a 3D printer, you can get a Convergence army easy.
Unfortunately not, because I move regularly, so I don't have access to shit.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll figure that out.
Well, the fingers crossed, everything goes well. I'm never moving from Europe ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes life so much easier.
But Menoth, like everything you know about Warmachine is basically the same. Like Crix is still Crix and does recursion with raising stuff back from the dead.
Yeah.
It's good. So that's exciting.
The other thing with them that I'm really looking forward to seeing soon is Scorn, because we've mentioned some things. I don't know whether it's actually public knowledge yet or not.
Scorn are on the track to come back, and it is public knowledge.
It is public knowledge. Cool. But they were something that I was really excited for. The one thing that disappoints me a little bit about Warmachine is I used to be a massive Trollblood player. like when I was in Japan, Trollbloods, fucking massive collection of them, and I just do not like the new designs, and it really puts me off.
Do you not like even the Kithguard with machine guns?
There's just something about them just really slightly offsets me, and it might be the photo. So I've not seen any Warmachine in person yet, and I'm hoping next week in UK Games Expo I get to see a lot of stuff.
Oh, you will, yeah.
But the paint jobs as well, the oversaturated photography that we see, really does my head in. Because you can't really tell what the models really look like. That's another thing that I have a really massive bugbear with in Games Workshop is their heavy metal style painting and photography. You can't tell what the models really are.
Yeah, I think with the Trollblood, they're getting more and more stuff painted up of the Brinebloods faction, because they didn't. Not all the faction was painted up. That's getting all painted up for the online store.
Yeah.
I do agree that sometimes some of the models, when they're photographed, I don't like the angle that they've taken.
And like the robotic ones, the very evil manga robotic ones.
Yeah, the House Callus Dust Skulls. Yeah,
there's something that like I kind of like it, but because they've lent a little bit too far into the anime, it's put me off. But there is something there that I like. And there's also like you can tell they're 3D printed. They're designed for 3D print because the wings and stuff and some of the designs are really fat and chunky. Yeah, and this is a 3D print design. So they've been designed, and I think this is one of the things that puts me off a little bit, is the designs are designed for 3D printing.
I wouldn't say fully.
So the fatter they are, the less likely they are to to fail.
I think that's become less so.
It has now, because they're not just doing 3D print; they are doing it.
Because the Gravediggers are not a chunky army. I think that was maybe the case of the early stuff, because Khador, you could get away with it.
Yeah.
Signar, you can get away with it to an extent, but yeah, it came off a little weird on some of the other things.
Yeah, maybe in the next couple of years as they move back, they'll still obviously have the STLs and stuff.
But
printing is obviously massively improved.
So. I do think not the Brinebloods, the new Kithguard, harken back to classic Trollbloods.
Yeah.
So you do have the pig troll on top of a.
That was one of my.
Dire troll with a machine gun.
Yeah, that was one of my favourite models.
You could do that. So you've got variants. So I think there's one design, because they're modular, you can get for the magnets. You either have the pig armed with a machine gun, a Khador battle cannon, or I think maybe even a rocket launcher or something. So there's enough weird variety.
I love that model, but because it was back in first and second ed, obviously everything was metal. You could never you'd turn up and you'd have lost the little pygmy troll because it broke off. But I do remember when we first started playing Warmachine, way back when it first came out, you introduced us, me, you, Matt, and I think Aid at Games Workshop Manchester.
Yeah, you
introduced us to it, and we kind of came. We thought that maybe in a couple of years they'd start doing modular builds of the Warjacks. It's only taken them an X number of years for that to happen.
I know. It takes a while. I mean, you need to go to plastic first to do it, really, or the advent of 3D printed resin, which allows that design approach. But no, trust me, the Kithguard in person looked cool, because have you watched all my videos? Because there's I think it's pig trolls sat on almost slightly Imperial Guardsman gun emplacements. They've got machine guns, and it's just like
they were great. Like, this is what kind of So if that's what the Kith are doing, I will probably enjoy them again.
The Kithguard are Trollkin do Imperial Guardsmen.
Yeah, no, that's I like that, but that aspect of it, because they were the ones who were connected to Signar.
Yeah.
And I also liked the Creoles.
So the lore behind it is, due to the Infernal Invasion, a large amount of the Trollkin left Western and Moran to find their own lands.
Yeah, because Signar were trying to steal it all.
So part of that is the Brinebloods, and the other part is the Kithguard. The Kithguard is formed out of the Trollkin, and their weaponry is because there weren't many people paying attention, they were able to steal a lot of gear from the Signaran and Khadoran weapon dumps.
That does not fucking surprise me.
Which is why you've got you've got
random pigs firing.
It's why it's why the Fortress King, which is the Kithgard's colossal, his close combat weapon is the big chain axe.
I was going to say it's a nice axe.
Kadoran colossal carries.
Yeah,
it's just nuts. It's just nuts. It's so nice in person. And the thing I will also say, and to wrap up on this point, is so Scorn are on the roadmap, just not set in stone when.
Yeah.
Scorn are the first things created by the Elven gods, and they discarded them because they were like, a bit ugly.
Elves fucking things up again, as always.
And if you look at the paint jobs, you'll see this in person at the cabinets at Steamforged Games. The paint jobs are great, but they're actually achievable.
Yeah.
Like with practice, you can do it. So Matt Hart, it's because Matt Hart paints a lot of them as well. He wants to paint armies as well, so he knows there's a balance here. Like if you want to show off some cool stuff, that's what fucking painting competition's for. Like I think box art needs to be somewhere in the middle. I was talking to Matt Hart anyway a lot about photography, because he was looking at my smoke machine photography. He was going like, this is good shit. Like, how'd you do this? I was like, I did it on my kitchen table. Anyway,
smoke machine. Yeah.
Other stuff that's interesting.
Trench Crusade.
Stuff's coming up. We'll mostly see some more of the new box game in person at UK Games Expo.
I'm hoping they've got a demo of the carcass.
I'd be very interested in your opinion on that. So I think let's hold off on talking any more Trench Crusade until...
No, I was just going to say they've released obviously all the models now, so we've seen all the models and they look
diving
fantastic.
From hell looks brilliant. Yeah. The other thing with 40k is they're doing their pre-painted
terrain on sprues,
and it's like, so here's the thing. Right, of why... Okay, so first of all, it's slightly better than what Rackham did, because Rackham's pre-paints look like dog shit.
Honestly, I'm looking at the pre-painted terrain, it looks really well painted. My big problem is it comes on sprues.
And it means it still has mold lines, and those mold lines are painted over.
Yeah.
So I think it uses...
And you've got to snip them off, which means you then got to repaint the bit you snipped off.
I think it uses UV... deposition methods, which is similar mostly to what Archon Games uses for theirs.
Yeah.
But you're right. The problem is you still need to snip them off. That means you're going to have to still paint back over those where the gates are from the plastic sprue.
Yeah, and there are mold lines.
And
no matter how good... GW are pretty good now at not showing mold lines in the way that they orientate things on the sprue. But these are flat. You're going to have mold lines right down the middle, I think.
I know. GW still does some horrific... just mold lines down things recently.
Yeah, so there's, as much as I love this model, the new Cog Fort, absolutely gorgeous. I'm never going to own one because it's 150 quid.
Is that how much one is?
Yes. It's the same price as a knight.
No.
130. 130.
No way.
But if they've got the 3D view of it, so go look at it on the website, look at it and spin it, and you'll notice there's a massive fucking gap. Two of the side panels of the actual fort don't meet together, and there's a massive gap between them. And I'm like, 130 quid for a model which doesn't fit together. But yeah, it's 130 quid. It's because it's the same part. It is the same size as an Imperial Knight. So
yeah, I guess. I mean, it's the same size as then a. I mean, it's 110 quid for Colossal in Warmachine, but I think in Warmachine you'll get a lot more. You'll do a lot more for game for you.
Bang for your buck, yeah.
I think a Covcore. Where's the 360?
Is there a 360? I don't know if there is. Let's have a look. What is that? Oh, Mantic Gaming.
I'm looking at images. I can't see a gap down anything. They may have put it on there.
They may have
put it on the community website. But yeah, I mean, it's very cool, but
I think it's a great model. But my ideas for what I would do with if I was ever to actually properly do it as a Sigma is to kit bash the entire fucking thing. Like I've got a friend who plays Oryx, and he's gonna make a pirate themed one, but he's not going to use the model. He's just going to buy random bits and go, oh, look, the Oryx have stolen a cog fort, and just kit bash his own one.
I'm just looking through the community page to see if I can find anything more on images on the cog fort. Not
No.
really. But then also, can't any army in Age of Sigmar take one as well?
Yes, as a mercenary.
Right.
But they're also like 500 points. It's something ridiculous. So it's a massive chunk of your army.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's cool. I'm just, yeah, I think it's cool. But like I said, I think going back to the point of the terrain is, as I say, it's like if it's a thing that doesn't fit together very well,
Yeah.
That's not good. But yeah, 3D printed terrain. I mean, it's again, this comes back to the fact that GW's seen money left on the table with respect to terrain for tournament play, because there's so many third parties out there that are already now doing terrain that fits the new template size for tournament play.
Yep.
And it's just an ever revolving door of stuff for tournaments and so forth.
My biggest worry about the tournament scene really is not the pre-painted terrain. I think that'll be good for tournament. And I know people who do terrain are like, we don't care that it's pre-painted because we're going to hack it up and repaint it anyway. So the pre-paint to me is not so much of a problem. It'll be good for stalls. My biggest problem at the moment with GW and what they've done with terrain is they've created 2D terrain.
Yeah, basically.
What I think is a lot of big stores, like local gaming stores and stuff, who can't afford to create lots of terrain, or tournament hosters who can't afford to buy £2,000 worth of terrain, will just buy this 2D terrain and play on 2D terrain, and it will just, as if you look at any Warmachine Third Ed competition, that is just disgusting. And but a lot of the people who will go to these tournaments don't give a shit. So, but also I'm looking forward to 11th Ed just nerfing the Tau army completely. It's like, oh, you can't shoot me unless we're in 15 inches. Oh well, screw you, Tau.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at, because Wargamer's got a web page up with 11th Ed, 40k weapon abilities all listed, and I think this gets to the heart of how I don't like. I think it's because of how the rules interact with things. It's like there's just lots and lots of, some of these have lots of subsystems on things, and it's not like. Again, it's like, because some of the things interact in a way that's different to how the rule normally works. I think it's just because of rerolls. It just makes it really messy and things. And
it's this whole thing's like, we've simplified the rules. You've got your sustained hits, your devastating wounds, your blah 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 blah. Everything's this, but then each individual unit has a way of breaking that.
Yeah, I think it's because you're chucking around so many modifiers and special rules, and there's at least 3, if not 4, stages to resolving a combat action. Whereas, if you're going back to Warmachine or Trench Crusade, you're either rolling to hit or you're rolling to injure, wound.
Yeah,
you've only got 2 points of interaction of going, have you got a buff or debuff, and have you got extra dice or less dice? Or maybe you might have a die, and in the case of Warmachine, picking the highest or picking the lowest.
Yeah.
But they're all happening at just 2. That's only happening twice.
Yeah.
And you don't have rerolls. The moment you're doing it 3 times plus rerolls, it's just too much.
So I've not played this since Third Ed, and I know since Third Ed, or N3 as I should call it, they've simplified the game somewhat. But
not massively.
Not massively, okay. Infinity is 1d6, 1d20.
Yeah.
You make 1 dice roll. Yes, you do have to read about 600 different fine rules to work out what your result needs to be, but it's 1 dice roll. And the whole fine rule thing comes from the fact that it was originally developed from basically D&D, a sci-fi D&D game, and it is designed as a tournament game. But it is still 1 dice roll.
Yeah.
And yes, it's nice to have a big handful of dice. It's quite nice. It's a nice feeling to throw a lot of dice. But then you've got to deal with the outfall of throwing a lot of fucking dice 6 times.
So, hold on. Here's a question, right? So, question on this. going back to the 3D pre-painted terrain, do you think 40k is going to do pre-painted minis?
Oh, well, they kind of do already because the Joy Toy stuff is pre-painted.
So,
But
I think there's two ways you got to look at this. One, they sell a lot of paints. You'd be cannibalizing your sale of paints. But two,
yeah, might sell more
40k may
shit
well
kids.
explode due to the Amazon TV series, and you're going to try and lower the barrier to entry even further. Because people are going, fuck, that's a lot to spend on buying toy soldiers to play a game. You're asking me now to spend even more money on paint to paint them. Fuck no. So
Yeah, but it depends what route GW decide to take, because they've been quite vocal about this over the last couple of years, is they are a hobby company, they are not a gaming company.
True.
So they would probably go down the route of, no, we won't do pre-painted because we're a hobby company and we want you to hobby. And I think that's also just an excuse for shit rules writing. They know know they don't have the time and the effort and the consistency to write a good rule set. So it's like, we're not a gaming company, we're a hobby company.
That was also something which was reinforced in the reveals at Lock and Load. Again, was the fact that Steamforged games strive not for a perfectly balanced game, because
they learn from the mistake of Guild Ball.
Well, yeah, because that's the problem. Like, a perfectly balanced game,
nobody buys anything.
The problem is, the moment you try and introduce something new into game, you are unbalancing the game again. Yeah. And the tournament players for that hated that, because either you introduce something new into the game that's worth buying, so then therefore it must be OP.
Which is again why Games Workshop's writing is fucking awful, because they always have to OP the last army.
Yeah, or you introduce something new to the game and it's either no better than what's already there or worse, so why is anyone going to buy it?
Yeah.
So the only way you can do things is you have to make gaps or add new systems to the game to add more diversity back into it. That was their problem with Guild Ball. Which is a shame.
Guild Ball was a really great fucking game. The problem is you turn up and you knew what everybody was going to have and what the gameplays were.
Yeah, pretty predictable. Yeah,
but it was still a fucking great game.
But yeah, I think Games Workshop's not going to do that. The other thing that's really funny, I didn't realize this until it was pointed out, is they're changing how movement's working for flying units in 11th edition.
There were flying I'll explain this.
Game? So how do you think flying works? How do you remember flying works in Warmachine?
I don't think I ever experienced flying in Warmachine.
Okay, fine. So it's literally you just measure the distance.
Yeah.
Ignore terrain. Make sure there's space to place the model. Done. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much the same as in Age of Sigmar as well, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And that's also how Night Haunts work, because they're effectively
floaty, ghosty things. Yeah,
ghosty go through things. 40k apparently wasn't like this in 10.
No. So the problem is with 40k is you've also got flyers.
Yeah,
you've got your floating bricks.
So things that were flying, like certain Tyranid creatures, what you have to do is you measure from the front of the base to the nearest edge of the terrain piece that is tall that you're trying to go over. That's the distance you travel. Then you have to measure the vertical distance to get the base of the model fully off it.
Oh yeah, they did the whole fucking triangle bullshit, didn't they?
And
yes.
It's a trapezium thing. And then you have to measure the distance down for it to do that. And that's your flying distance. So for a model that was able to fly, you had to be close enough to the terrain you're trying to jump over, because depending on your base size, you needed to have enough clearance to get past it. And it's just like, what dog shit? Because as was again, Helson Mikey pointed this out. Like, there are some models in 40k that have huge bases that can fly. Like,
yeah, I've got one of them over there. It's called. He's a Primarch. He's got a fucking base about that big.
Oh, and then don't even begin on like if it's oval shaped and which way that oval is pointing versus, and then how oval things move in the game. It's just terrible.
But as I say, they're a hobby company. They're not a gaming
Yeah,
company.
I was also looking. Speaking of like pre-colored terrains and stuff, I did point. I said like Mantic's got some new terrain out for you can get a fantasy battlefield for like 80 quid, which I think
Yeah,
is
but they've also I'm on the page now. They've got a load of they've got this terrain crate thing where you can buy the STLs or you can buy the 3D printed stuff. You can have it 3D. You can have it pre-painted and stuff. So they've got a lot of stuff here. I see they also still have their bullshit Dead Zone stuff, which I did have for a while, and then I got rid of it because it is not modular. You stick it together, and all the little clips that you use to stick the things together, which you're then meant to be able to pull apart, break.
yeah.
So, and it's also just it's blocks. It's HAB blocks on top of HAB blocks. But the fantasy stuff looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's a
shame Mantic have just even more garbage rules than 40k.
yeah. I mean, I think the only thing I can see on their website that's vaguely nice terrain wise is like you can get a set of what 15 pieces. How many is that? Yeah, it's about 6 trees, fantasy trees for 30 quid because God forbid wanting to buy a set of Citadel Woods these days.
Oh God. Yeah, the alien forest, the alien jungle. We've got some really boring Tomb World stuff.
And they've also
there's a load of scattered terrain on there.
They've also got some vacuum formed hills as well, which is
and vacuum formed craters, taking you right back to the Blackreach days.
So I think there's at least some interesting, cheaper options for your fantasy terrain.
Yeah, there's so many companies out there who do good terrain and they do good head swaps. Cromlech is pretty good for third-party parts. And there's other companies out there that I'm slowly losing the will to live with the modding gaming scene at the moment. But
another thing which was brought up, and I'll going back because I was like obviously looking through Wargaming's website just to catch up on various news. An interesting topic, and I mean it's an interesting one from a role play point of view as well. Do orcs make sense in 40k anymore? Because the reason I think to say that is because orcs, in other words, do orcs tonally fit the direction of travel of where they're going with 40k anymore?
I would say yes. Because 40k it's not grim dark anymore. Like it's not the grim dark future anymore. It is more shiny and polishy. And if they lean into kind of like the more stupid comedic aspects of the orcs, then I think that really fits in with this kind of weird, clean image that they're going in 40k. There are other things in there which I don't really think fit, like the Tau. Tau really don't fit. The squats, no, not really. It's like whenever they add in a new faction, they tend not to fit. But I think orcs, for me personally, I think they do fit.
I think basically what it's getting at is that I think for those of us again that have been in the hobby a long time, it's hard to reconcile that they're progressively shaving away some of the more nonsense elements of orcs.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't do. They should lean into it more, I think.
So they're going more. So in other words, they're going for more that they're trying to get that true brutal, cunning feel of orcs, rather than the wacky elements of orcs.
Rather than we just stick things together, I paint it red, it go fast.
Yeah, I think that's what I feel like is the direction of travel in some respects.
You know the two forces that I really don't think fit very well: Space Marines and Imperial Guard.
I mean, I'd love to see again. You could,
and it's mainly because the Imperial Guard, the one thing they need to do is release plastic kits for other regiments.
Yeah,
and Space Marines, can they just fuck off already, please? Like you split the galaxy in half, and yet every fucking chapter now has Primaris. Like fuck off. But no, also exactly. Bore the shit out of me. So
we're now also to the point where they're going to start retiring the firstborn kits anyway.
Yeah, I'm still surprised they sell some of the tanks. Like it's not the what's the Razorback? They still sell the Razorback.
Yeah.
And stuff. So It's like yes,
And whirlwinds.
yeah, let's have an old school Rhino weapons platform. But
So
anyway,
then to wrap up, what are you excited about, or things you're looking for at UK Games Expo? Because I'm going to be I'm basically working on the Steamforge games, booth, running demos all day. I'm going to have hopefully a little bit of time to look around, and really all I'm after will be, I just want to get some interesting, nice terrain from somewhere for a good deal. I'm still kind of in that mindset of, if I get some, I want it to be Wild West themed, because I want Wild West Warmachine, because that's good fun.
That was the thing that I like when you had that transition from Western Imram to wherever the Scorn lived. You kind of had this Wild West part, and that was a really great setting.
So what other things then are you kind of on the lookout for?
For me, I am going to find the Trench Crusade stand. I've been reading up a lot of the lore, and the lore is fantastic, and it is nearly a perfect setting for me.
I haven't had time to delve into my rule book deep enough to get into the lore yet.
No, the lore so I'm quite deep into the occult and esoteric history and shit. So, and reading some of the lore, they do know their stuff. They have brought a lot of the stuff forward and integrated it into the lore, and it is absolutely gorgeous to see all of this. So I want to go over, see what they've got, actually play the game, and talk to them. Maybe pick up some stuff or put on a pre-order on the Carcass front. And I'm also just excited to kind of get back into the scene somewhat.
Yeah.
Like 2 years in Mexico, I did some role playing, but it was online stuff, and I was never really involved. I tried to go to Gen Con, but fucking COVID. So I'm just looking forward to kind of catching up with people, making connections. Going to go see Hamilton. So, and then I've got a load. I'm going to meet a load of friends, meet a load of connections and stuff. Just kind of reintegrate myself back into the world. Obviously, we've got a few things. Meeting Hamilton will be great because we've got a few things in the work with him. So,
yeah, we have got various things. I mean, things that'll mostly be at. I think I need to look at the list of UK Games Expo stuff.
I need to see the map. Yeah.
So I think most probably Xeogenesis will be there in a more. Xeogenesis is a mech game by Andy Chambers and written by Andy Chambers and Gav Thorpe. That should have its proper minis now in production, so they'll be present, I'm sure. Yeah. Obviously, there's everything that War Cradle do. So that's their dystopian wars and Wild West sets, because that's all being wrapped up into one setting now.
Yeah, they brought it all into the one thing. So the Fleet Crusade, the Fleet game, and everything is all but kind of been brought together. I wouldn't mind seeing if there's the company who do Corvus Belli. I wouldn't mind seeing what they because they've got their Warcrow setting. I wouldn't mind having a look at their minis for that and maybe trying the game. Obviously, Free League are there. See. Have a chat with them, but whether that's done with Effect or whether that's done with Free League. But if Effect are there, it'd be cool to see Dave and that lot.
Because there might be a lot of smaller like minis games these days as well, because it's getting that way, I feel.
There's a lot more independent small things going on.
Because I wonder if that, like, there's things like Space Gits came out like this year, which is like a
run around and be gits. Yeah,
it's just an orky kind of game. There's also other like, there's the 5 Leagues or 5 Parsecs series of games. So again,
I think the invention of 3D printing and the accessibility of things like ZBrush or ZBrush or whatever you want to call it has definitely allowed this plethora of smaller indie games to come out in the wargaming thing. Because the big thing like years ago is difficult to develop indie games because you'd have to have the production values, whereas now you just buy a 3D printer and buy ZBrush and you can go off and do your own thing. So
I was just seeing where we go, exhibitors. Let's have a look at the list of exhibitors at UK Games Expo. Do we have categories? We do have categories.
We really want to.
I'm going to put in sci-fi miniatures games, Filter Sort, Valeo's there, Archon's there.
Oh, Archon, cool.
I don't know who Seventh City Collectibles are. Bad Squidder Games is there if you want your funky, weird stuff, and more. Battle Systems is there. They do their card terrain, and they do their own Core Space and Maladum war games. Black Scorpion Minis, never heard of them. Bloodforge Games, never heard of them. Of course,
Bloodforge,
Belly.
hang on. Let me just find them.
Crooked Dice do a variety of minis that are based upon various TV shows and stuff. Cryptic Cabin are there with their own paintbrushes. Duncan Road's Painting Academy, so that's if you want your teeth in coats.
Okay, it's not who I thought it was.
Exit 23 Games do Relic Blade. Forbidden Psalm is there.
Oh, cool.
So they do a Mortborg-derived Grimdark game, don't they?
Yeah.
Never played it.
Moonstone will be there. We talked about them a bit earlier.
Yeah. Hayland Terrain. Okay, yeah.
Into the Unknown. Then they're a pretty cool company.
Malediction is kind of a... So that's one that's a bit like...
It's Loot Studios, though. And that just puts me off that Loot shit, so...
It's kind of like merging how it merges CCGs with miniatures into a game. That's as much as I can really say with any confidence.
Like Underworlds.
Let me see. Anything else? One-page rules? That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple of one-page rules. There's Siege Studio. Well, we don't talk about Siege Studios, you asshole.
Ontos Games are there.
Osprey.
So Ontos Games is Chris, who used to be a regular at the Ultronum store. He does his own minis these days, having worked at a few companies. He does his squats, basically. They're amazing. I've got one that I need to paint up. Who else is there? Yeah, Siege Studios can get wrecked.
Army Painter. Titan Forge do some really cool kind of single mini stuff.
Triton Futureworks, I met them at Chilcon. They do some really good upscaled minis.
TT Combat. Actually, if TT Combat are there, that probably means the Drop Zone crews are going to be there, and that I'm interested. So that's the thing. Drop Zone Commander and that lot, they're going to be doing a tabletop, actual 28mm size game. So they're looking to kind of do the full mini range. So from the fleet battles to the epic scale battles to the tabletop battles and the skirmish levels. So that's something that I've loved. I've played Drop Fleet and Drop Zone, and they are really good games. It's just they're really badly run as a company.
There's a lot of good stuff actually though. There's a lot of variety.
I'm glad I'm there for the weekend. So
I mean, I'm not in the mood for picking up more games right now. Like I say, I'm not interested in picking them up, but I'm interested in seeing them and seeing what's going on. Okay. Wayland Games. But yeah, it should be a good weekend.
I'm looking forward to it.
Just take lots of pictures.
Yes.
What was the last thing I had something? Oh, sorry for yawning. God, this is one of those days. I've been putting together more furniture this weekend. What I was going to say as well, which was interesting. Was there anything interesting?
Oh no, we've talked a lot. We've thrown a lot of hatred at 40k today. So
yeah, I know, I know. It feels terrible, but it's just. I think
the problem is we're bombarded in the social media platforms with 40k 11th is coming out. You can't see me. I've gone dark and I'm not turning lights. But 40k 11th is coming out, and it's just fucking everywhere, and everyone's going, "Oh, it's so fucking great, so fucking great." It's like, yeah, great for the people who like it, but there are other people who don't really give a shit. Can we see what else is going on in the world of wargaming?
Yeah, I think it's that, and I think it's quite clear. It's the relationship between the people that make the games and the people that play the games. Because again, you consider like Trench Crusade, you'd be there. Thomas Pernan and others are highly accessible.
Yeah. I know Andy Chambers is going to be there. They're doing a talk on Saturday, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I will try to get to. So
it just shows. I think it just kind of highlights where we are with like what people want from maybe what people are looking for maybe from wargaming these days is not. It's not just good models and good. They want nice models, but they also want a great game, and also they want to have that feeling like your feedback on the game
Is
that you
listening
care
to.
about matters in a way,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter in the way that like they're just looking at the statistics of the wins and losses at tournament level, and that's going to inform their game design. Whether that even bothers the Games Workshop, I don't know. But I think it's just knowing that you can go to a premium event and actually any other event and talk to the designers of these games and it's to be recognized.
Yeah. So the problem is with Games Workshop is they have no real presence at these events. So in that list of exhibitors we just looked at, Games Workshop was not on
the list.
No. The only presence they had at Adepticon was during the big reveals. And when they do have things at these events, it's run not by the designers or anything. You never meet the designers. It's just kind of like front of house staff.
This
and
is
it's
the
like
problem
shop
with
staff and stuff. So
this is the problem with Warhammer Fest, wasn't it?
yeah,
and
like there was a great concept. It just didn't really. They fucked it. Whereas I think Lock and Load have the correct idea.
Lock and Load felt like the old Apocalypse events that which were run by Games Workshop, because we did that one in Manchester. And that was a lot of fun. And that, as I said in the last episode that I recorded for Telefor Warcasters, I remember taking that bloody Lisbon Temple board up the escalators to get it to the event space. It was an absolute nightmare, but we did it. But that was cool because we had a board like that, and we had other boards for, narrative play, and then there was the tournament space, and there was some hobby stuff going on. It actually felt good. We just were missing. That was missing the, the games designers and the people that write the lore.
You don't tend to get that in it. You get the two dudes who do the streams. They occasionally turn up, but you still can't actually get to them and talk to them. Well, so the entire company is it's a faceless. They've gone full corporate. They're fully faceless.
Well, yeah, because the people even doing the streams, right? Are we really meant to think they know when they're talking about the game? Are we really meant to think they know what they're talking about? Do they actually really play?
Those two do. They are part of the Warcom team. They play. They have their own armies, and they will showcase their own armies and stuff. So they are part of the hobby. They're not corporate goons.
The one thing we'll be able to try at, I think they will be at UK Games Expo.
They will, because it'll be. I think it's the week before they release 11th, so I'm guessing they'll be there, and I'm guessing there will be 11th edition proto games, whatever you can try games.
I hope.
Which I'm going to not play.
Understand. Playseer will be also at UK Games Expo on the Warmachine stand, so you'll be able to try the AR play experience and see what you think of that.
AR makes me have massive motion sickness problems. No, thank you.
Well, there you go. It's not designed for everyone.
You can try that, and you can tell us what
it is. I've got to ask Lenny to write up about it. It's very interesting way of, like I say, trying to allow people to play across the internet, but still have your miniatures. Like, you have your physical miniatures in front of you. So
displace off a projector.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been ranting for nearly an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's about it. I've also got the Screaming God expansion I need to do an unboxing of.
Yes.
And finally, maybe the moment I get my Scorn army painted, so I'm going to finish my Gatemen, then finish my Scorn, then, oh god, this roadmap of stuff to paint sounds horrific. Then it's Trench Crusade.
Well, you've got that. I've got like 5 full Warhammer armies over there, like a couple of 1,000 points. None of them have paint on them.
And then I need to do. I kind of want to get into the position where I think wintertime will be. I get back into playing some Kingdom Death on the regular.
This is the thing of like, I want to bring my Kingdom Death to France, because obviously you can play it by yourself, But I was like, I'm not going to bring nearly £1,000 worth of gaming material on a fucking plane.
No. You've got to have you need to be Eurotunneling that one.
Yeah.
Because I fucking wouldn't do it either.
No.
That's going to that would be.
But it's the one. So there are two games that I desperately wish I had with me, and it is Kingdom Death, and the other one is a game called Tainted Grail. And
Right.
it is,
Oh yes.
yeah, it's a phenomenal board game. It is absolutely phenomenal, and if I had it, we could talk about it and show it off and do a quick thing on it. It is absolutely, it's a brilliant game. As a one person game, it's fantastic, and you can also, like Kingdom Death, bring in other people to take over and stuff. It's great.
Oh, I just realised who Tabletop Titans are that do terrain. They're the ones that do the pop-up books.
Yes,
essentially. Oh, interesting.
Which is, I think, great for really small RPG kind of games, but 50-50 in it. But anyway,
yeah.
Anyway,
so what's any good take homes from this for you?
Warmer socks.
Play Warmachine.
No. I'm looking. So my biggest put off with Warmachine, as I've said many times, is the models, and I am looking forward to seeing the models in person to actually get a better view of them.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and then also to catch up with you in person and maybe play a quick 15-minute game.
Yeah, I mean, the plastic starters they've got, the plastic starter groups they've got for most factions are pretty good. Hopefully, we'll see some more in future. But plastic takes time, and that's the only problem with it. It's expensive and takes time. So they're just scaling up in a manageable way.
But I am I'm really happy to see where Warmachine is going, what it's doing, and the fact that they've brought both Warmachine and War Hordes into one system, in quote marks. But I love what it's doing, and the fact it's now being successful again.
And the RPG is going back to the 2d6 system, so there's going to be a new edition starting development at some point. I have no idea on those details.
That was a fucking great system. I loved playing in that system.
And we know where the pain points on that system are, because like Warjacks and War Beasts were a bit soft compared to characters. So there'll be things to do with that.
Yes.
Cool. Well, yeah, UK Games, that's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, it'll be good for you to get back into doing some minis. Now you're in a country where they're also a bit more easily accessible. So that'll be good. Hey, you never know, we might find out some more about the next edition, the new edition of Confrontation when that kicks off.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's going to be. We've got rumors of that coming soon, haven't we?
Yeah, because that's being done by Monolith.
Yes.
So
connections to.
Oh, that's something we could do. I've said to Mike I want to do it. I want to do a deep dive back on the Confrontation third edition rules, because it's an interesting system in this day and age when you've got people that are going, oh, I want a system like this, and it's like that's been done before.
Yeah, it's like the thing is, like, Confrontation was massively ahead of its time, both in character design, lore design, mini design, and rule design. It was just nobody knew how to run a company.
If they had not gone to pre-painted plastics and just held their nerve and just did standard plastics.
Yeah, but they were still also just a god-awfully run company.
Yeah,
on every level.
It was art first rather than business. That's the problem.
Yeah. Anyway. It's the classical case of hobbyists creating a company and not having any experience in that field. So, but yeah, we can do a deep dive on that. That would be great fun.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, we'll end it there. We didn't even do a proper introduction, so people who've been watching Realm of Fire where we bitch about games.
Hi.
And that's all for now, so goodbye.
Bye.